recognition of the complex interplay between oral and public health has acknowledged the power of oral health big data to blend new insight on disease prevention and management. Dear ladies and gentlemen, digitalization of many processes in our everyday lives and healthcare has caused an exponential growth in the quantity of data generated as an ambiguous byproduct. In the recent past, there has been much focus on the potential use of this data for quality and outcome improvement in many fields, including finance, health, healthcare, and research. Based on recent report, the number of cases of utilizing big data technology in healthcare has started skyrocketing, such as sophisticated sensors connected through the Internet of Things being used on medical device and in personalized medicine treatment. Thus, the goals of this review was to familiarize the readers with the current status quo of development of big data in healthcare and the resultant inherent challenge, as well as to provide an outlook on the potential impact on healthcare with emphasis on the dental profession, dental research, and dental education. The Virtual International Symposium Series 13 offers us an extraordinary opportunity to gain more knowledge from our invited speakers, Professor Lee Seng Cheng, PhD from Taipei Medical University. I hope that by this symposium, Universitas Hasanuddin and Taipei Medical University can do more collaboration in the future, especially in dental health issue. Finally, I would like to conclude my remark and officially open this symposium. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With the blessing of Allah, God Almighty, I officially open this conference. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Prof. Nasrum, for a kind and very warm welcome and to opening our virtual symposium today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we will proceed to our main session, where our guest speaker invitation, Professor Sam Lee Chen, Professor Sam Lee Seng Chen, will present his talk. This session will be guided by our moderator. She's a very close contact with Professor Chen, Dr. Andi Siti Hajra, Dr. Gigi MS. She's from Department of Oral Maxillofacial Surgery, Faculty of Dentistry, Hasanuddin University. And her academic background and professional career is, she got her master degree from School of Oral Medicine, Taipei Medical University. I believe she know Professor Chen very well. She was your student, Prof?
Yes.
Yeah. And Dr. Hajra now is a team task force for our world-class university and also assistant editor in our Journal of Dentomaxillofacial Science. His research interest is in tissue engineering, emphasize on marine-based dentistry. She has a lot of publication with the recent one is a promising copolymer modified hydrogel promote stem cell, and also some other very excellent publication. Dr. Hajra, without further ado, I'll leave it to you to guide this talk today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ernie, for the chance. And the Honorable Vice Rector of Hasanuddin University, Prof. Professor Nasrum Masri, the Honorable Dean of Faculty of Dentistry, Hasanuddin University, Professor Ruslin, and also the honorable speakers for today, Professor Sam Lisenchen from Taipei Medical University. And also I would like to thank all the participants and distinguished guests that already joined this webinar. And before we hear the speech from Professor Sam, first of all, I would like to share his curriculum vitae. Maybe will be shared from Dr. Ernie. Dr.
Yes,
Ernie,
yeah.
please the slide for the curriculum vitae of Professor Sam Lisenchen.
Let me share it for you, Doctor. Sorry for this delay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here the CV from Professor Sam Lisenchen, PhD. Now he is an Associate Dean of College of Oral Medicine, Taipei Medical University. He is also a professor in School of Oral Medicine, Oral Hygiene, College of Oral Medicine, Taipei Medical University. And also Professor Sam is active in TMU Research Center of Cancer and Translational Medicine, Taipei Medical University, also in International Asia Cancer Screening Network. And then Professor Chen got his PhD degree from Taiwan National Yangming University. And also he has his postdoctoral work on cancer screening evaluation in Finland at Temple University. Professor Chen already published numerous publications in the high impact factor and high reputation journal, and his main interest in research area is in disease prevention, emphasizing on the bioinformatics, artificial intelligence, and also the outcome research. Now, I think one of the most recent publication from Professor Sam is related to the current condition of the world about the COVID-19, published in BMC Medical Education in 2021. He has a lot of publication, but I think you can all find his name in the searching engine in the internet with the name Chen SL. So before going further, and I won't keep you all wait for any longer. Let's hear the speech from our speakers today, Professor Sam. The screen is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I share my screen.
Yes, Professor.
Wait me a moment. Okay. Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes, it's clear, Professor.
Okay. Thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Anti Haraja kindly invite me to join this webinar. It's very meaningful, and particularly I think because Hanoi University is our the best sister school from our Taipei Medical University, and Dr. Haraja, she is also our best students before studying in our College of Oral Medicine, and so I'm very happy to accept her invitation. And also, I would like to thank the Professor Master Masi and Dean Russlin, who are very kind, welcome to introduce this webinar and to have this let me have this opportunity to talk about these topics. So I think today's my topic, I would like to say something about the big data and the oral disease prevention. So I think this is very important the topic and the issues for the time being. In addition to the basic research about dental science, but also now it's quite important because the information coming day from time to time and day by day, and how we can make use of our clinical data, research data, and other data, and to help us to toward the precision oral medicine. So this is I think I would like to emphasize today. Okay, so thanks for the Dr. Harajat. She is already introducing my background, and because we have a very good relationship between the two universities, so welcomes all of you can visit it, our university and our faculty after the post-COVID-19 pandemic. And I also would like to go back to the Makassar. I hope very soon we can have a meeting in person in Makassar very soon. So if you want to contact with me, so here this is my email and my my personal website. You can look for the details about me. Okay, so in the beginning, I think the direction of our oral medicine is quite important, guided by the WHO guided oral health system associated with the Sustainable Development Goals. So right now, so in the world, I think it's quite important to develop the SDG everywhere, including our dental health. So they told about these directions to the global oral health. So it's quite important to let us know why this is an important issue. So this slide shows the association between the income and the life expectancy. So you can see if you want to gain the health, very important about economic development. So the higher the income per persons, are more likely to gain health and extend the life expectancy. So how we can think about to if people would like to have health. So economic burden should not be the problem. So that's why WHO would like to use the SDG as a goal to let every people to think about not only the health issues. Before the good health and well-being, we need to have the economic development. This is quite important. So that's why we have no poverty. We need zero hunger. So this is the first and the two very important to make a sustainable development goal. So then after that, we have the good health and well-being, including the mission about the global oral health. So this is a very important concept. And also, they use an index to demonstrate also the association between the Universal Healthcare Score Index and the GDP. So it's also another direction about the correlation between the if you want to you need health, but you need the economy as well. So but both of them are very important. Okay, not only the money but also including the health. So under these concepts, we need to think about all these issues altogether to development, not only for one infectious disease control, but also we need to consider about other issue about the reproductive, maternal and newborn child health, and non-communicable disease, okay, including our dental, our oral disease, and we need to let the capacity and the medical facility and the medical assessment is very easy. So this is a four category related to global oral health, not only one disease. And right now, what is the WHO guided oral health system? So they developed the goal of 2025. It's we need to have 25% premature mortality reduction, and this is one goal for the next 3 years. But also they emphasize on not only the disease, but also the target of the lifestyle modification, including the tobacco use, physical inactivity, the alcohol intake, salt intake. So you can see those four very important indications. It's a goal. And these lifestyles factors actually highly associated with our oral disease, including the cigarette, alcohol intake, and physical inactivity, and so on. But right now, the WHO not only mentions the disease, but also use this indicator and would like to show how important about the primary preventions rather than the tertiary preventions. And for the biological assessments, blood pressure is always issues, and diabetes, obesity is also the two biological the factors we need to take care of that. And another factors we need to increase our capacity for our treatment, medical care, and also the availability of the drug development. So this is the health reality index about the goal of the WHO would like to target. And so based on these directions, we need to think about what is our oral health system. We should be take care about the dental service delivery and our workforce. So we need to very friendly, very easy to access our dental delivery. So we need to provide to people. We need to have a good capacity to provide our dental professionals to the people. And also we need to consider about the oral health information system. That's the very important to develop toward the big data, and also the many the measures for preventions, including fluoridation, oral health education, screening, and dental devices development, and also consider about the finance and leadership and governance. So this is a whole to the WHO goals. And in Taiwan, the major features of our the medical capacity, we have a very strong health insurance systems. We cover about 99% more to deliver the universal dental health care, and around 5% from our payroll taxes. And we have including the comprehensive benefits, not only the dental care, but also including the Western medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and the very good ambulatory care, emergency system, and it was also have only one public single payer from our government, and around the 6% GDP for all overall budget. And so it's very it's also amazing to see we have increased our dental delivery system already. So everywhere, especially in Taipei cities, in the streets, on the streets, they have many dental clinics and very easy access to our dental clinics. So for the tertiary prevention, we have very strong capacity already, and then we can think about providing more to further including the primary prevention and the secondary prevention. So I think we have some experience to meet the very easy access to our dental care for meet the WHO's goals. Okay, so I think this is a concept I would like to deliver in the beginning, and then the next I would like to talk about why it's also very important for the oral disease under this framework, because the very promising, very important association between the oral disease and the non-communicable disease already been proved. And talking about the disease burden of our oral disease, so around 4 billion people in over the world, the untreated tooth decay almost half of the world's population. So I think this is a very also very important issues. Okay, 4 billion people suffer this kind of problem. So we need to do something. And also, not only for caries problems, but also we have the periodontal disease quite more likely to see in the middle adults, and also some oral cancers in both our countries. So they share the common risk factors, including the lifestyle behavior, as I mentioned, including the cigarettes, alcohol, and the betel nuts, and other Western diets. This risk factor also associated with the system disease, such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancers, and others. Therefore, the oral disease is highly associated with this systemic disease as well. And we would like to easy to assess the periodontal disease. So this is one the detection method to detect the disease burden of periodontal disease. And this is a community periodontal index, CPI, to early detect the periodontal disease by the following category. From the moderate disease to the severe disease. And right now, the most strong evidence shows the periodontal disease as highly associated with the non-communicable disease, including the very important cardiovascular disease and other diabetes and the pulmonary disease, CVD, dementia, premature birth, and the pneumonia, and it shows some evidence. And what's the impacts of oral lifestyle habits, not only on the oral disease, but also on other non-communicable disease? And I would like to show some our data in Taiwan, and how we can collect this kind of information to demonstrate the impacts of oral oral habits on the non-communicable disease. So it's Taiwan, and in some areas we have some screening program. Then we collect those oral habits informations to report the smoking rates. And some areas they have a very high smoking rates, and the males are more likely to smoke than the females. But in some areas, you can see in the eastern of Taiwan, the smoking in the women have a very high smoking rate. And also for because these areas live in the Aboriginal peoples, so they are quite fond of to have this kind of habits, including the cigarette and the betel nut chewing. So you can see for the betel nut chewing, the prevalence of betel nut chewing, they are heterogeneous between different areas. Some areas have very high chewing rates, but some have low. And also very interesting to see in the eastern of Taiwan, male and female, they are fond of have betel nut chewing. The prevalence of chewing is very high for male and female. So this also very big problems for really this very high rates of betel nut chewing. And for alcohol intakes, you can see I think many people are fond of drinks, so this also very important issues. And for obesity, they are still have some heterogeneous between the areas. Some have a very high BMI, the obesity rates are higher compared with the Western Taiwan. Okay, so I think the lifestyle, particularly in oral habits lifestyle, the outcomes are very important. So then by these screenings, we have some cohorts and follow these cohorts for the mortality, and we can estimate the life expectancy for the different kind of behavior. So you can see if you are smokers, then the life expectancy are shorter than non-smokers, around 3 to 4 years. And if you are a betel nut chewer, the life expectancy are shorter. The shortest can estimate compared with the non-chewers, can have a shorter life expectancy around 6 years. So you have the both these behaviors, smoker together with chewers. So it's around 10 to 5 years shorter life expectancy. So this is quite important issue why right now the WHO would not like to say some disease problems, but would like to emphasize we should think about how to modify our lifestyle, particularly for cigarettes and the alcohol drinking or betel nut chewing. So we also demonstrate for the betel nut chewing, actually it's a very high associated with the mortality, not only all-cause mortality, but compared with non-chewers, if you have this kind of the behaviors, you are more likely to have the cancers, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, the liver disease, and so on. So the impacts of the equine chew by this big data analysis is not only demonstrate associated with the cancers, but also other non-communicable disease. So this is evidence from our Taiwan data. So we further to demonstrate again using the big data analysis and to show the betel nut chewing associated with the diabetes. and also metabolic syndromes. And even so, the outcome for long-term follow-up were very obviously to see associated with the cardiovascular disease. So it's quite important issues for children based on us, not only associated with the oral cancer, but also others chronic disease. And this is also another interesting study to demonstrate the transgeneration effect of beta-quick chewing on metabolic syndrome. And it's again using our the community-based screening data. It's we have the total of the over 10,000 parent trials longitudinal follow-up data. So in this data, we can demonstrate the duration of beta-quick chewing before offspring birth. If you were have this kind of the behavior beta-quick chewing before you get married, then the long duration of beta-quick chewing, their child are more likely to have the metabolic syndrome. So it's called transgeneration effect. So this kind of the behavior not only harmful for yourself, but also they could be possibly to transgeneration to your next generation. Because you have this kind of behavior, beta-quick chewing, and the smoking. So this is also another evidence not only demonstrated in the animal study, but also proved by our the big data analysis from the community, the population-based screening program cohort. So this is very important. So oral habits, so healthy oral habits. We have several the evidence to show associated with the periodontal disease as well. So finally, the alcohol intakes also demonstrate if you have this kind of polymorphism, ADH1B as already demonstrate highly associated with esophageal cancer. So drink too much is not good. And another problem for the lifestyle behavior is soft drink. This belong to the Western countries, now very popular in our young generation. Also demonstrate if you have soft drinks, are more likely to develop the periodontal disease. So this is another issue for if you drink too much about the soft drink. So the risk of the periodontal disease will increase. Okay, so the impact of oral lifestyle habit on non-communicable disease. For smoking cessation, we need to do something. For the monitoring, protecting, offering some help to quit tobacco use. Or we use some tobacco tests, try to start smoking. And I think this is some issues we need to think about to use a population-wide approach to lower our salt intake, lower the sugar-free soft drink, reduce health diets, optimal intake of vegetable and fruits, optimize physical activity and oral hygiene education, and some fluoride toothpaste promotions. This is has better using the population wide approach, not only use individual oral health education. And this is one example from UK. They increase the taxes from the soft drinks. So this is the population-wide approach to for the sugar the drink. They use the taxes as a approach. And another issue for our oral health care, we should think about from the maternal, children, adults, elder, and oral health care for special health care need. So particularly if we want to use big data, and now the cloud-based smart home for patient cares right now is more and more the advanced tools to use IoT technology to take care of elder people, and then they can transmit some data, biological data, for example, blood pressures for hypertension, and also some days we still can use our mobile to take some photo from our mouth and from oral cavity and to early detection of some disease. It's quite possible in the futures. And for other disease, including the neurodegenerative disease, which can think about is a very high opportunity for the elder people if they have some periodontal disease in the future. They are associated with a dementia, and we need to do some the dentures for the elder people in the futures, because if they don't have they have tooth loss in the future, they will get some neurodegenerative disease. So the next part is our big data perspective. So I think the health informatics paradigm is from the clinical medicine to public health, and using a different approach from the original hospital-based health informatics to transfer to the client-based health informatics. So right now, people use the mobile, and we have so many kind of the medical informatics data to develop personalized medicine from the bioinformatics, imaging informatics, clinical informatics, and the public health informatics, and how we can use these data together and to develop the future perspective in terms of personalized oral medicine. So this is one example how we can control the infectious disease in a hospital. We monitor the long-term trend of the instance of bacteria in the medical centers for the long times. The monitoring and using the big data to identify how they can affect the mortality. And so we can use some modeling and to develop the hypothesis to test. It's another hand wash intervention to reduce the infection in the disease in the hospital. So we use before and after by this model, then we can trace how the efficacy of our intervention. Because if you don't have any intervention, the bacteria is there and they cannot be reduced, they cannot be eliminated. So this is another approach to do the big data analysis. Some issue about the mobile the health also have been talked about in the previous rules, and this one of how we can share the health data by blockchains, and this kind of the data sharing, and to push some data and to pull some information together, and by the mobile or any apps, we can see the data to do something. And the big data architecture is like following. If we have many sources of data and we extraction and filter, try to build out the data warehouses, and to further data analysis to support the personalized key for medicine, including personalized precision, prediction, and participation, using the 7V to demonstrate the results. So this is current big data analysis. You can see some promising the technologies for the medicine development. So you can see in the retinopathy, diabetic retinopathy, they are quite promising to develop, and the data size is not too much, but some using more high technique the models technique to develop the more the AI data. Like if you want to do the image analysis, you might have some convolutional neural networks. You need this kind of technology to do the artificial intelligence the diagnosis. So this is the current status. If you want to develop some the technology, you can use this as a concept to develop from data to build a model and try to make some data available to make decision. Okay, but in the big data analysis, still some issue to learn, and this is one of the publications to use in the insurance data to demonstrate the association between the periodontal disease and the cardiovascular disease. However, using this kind of data, you need to prevent some biases. So after this publication, some criticize about the big data analysis race to talk about this article has some bias. So we need to very careful about this big data analysis. So the big data is good, but small sample size, sampling variability, have some sampling variability. But in a huge sample size, we still have sampling bias. We need to take care about of that. So we have some big data analysis again to show you about our screening program for the oral cancer target at the high risk group for the smoker or natural. So this is our we do for screening for those people have this kind of habits. So we use a binary virtual screen by dentist or doctor to see whether they have oral have some oral pre-malignant disorder. So we screen every year, and the attenders from the 3 million to around the from the 0.3 million to the 0.9 million every year, and male are more likely to target as a high risk group. So the positive rate around 8% from the clinical doctor, and using oral virtual inspection, and referral rate is around 80%. Then the OPMD detection rate is around 4.5 per thousand. Okay, and we have detected some oral cancers. So using this big data, we screen around the 2 million the smoker and the beta chewer. Then we found the mortality reduction is quite promising. We have 26% the mortality reduction in the futures. So this is a big data analysis from our screen profile. And another is our screen for the periodontal disease for around 4,000 Taiwanese adults. And in this study, we use the CPI to detect the periodontal disease, and not only for single teeth, but we have every teeth we detect for 6 sites, and for the 6th section we have index teeth to exam. So this also another big data, and we use our questionnaire together with our screening, so we can develop the risk the prediction to develop the prediction the model to early suggest have early suggestion for the high risk if you have following the problem, and we can identify the high risk group for periodontal disease. And it's again to compare the different the sensitivity and specificity for our data to show how the promising for our the risk prediction tools. And this also big data in our dentistry, because even we only have 4,000 participation, but for section level we have 28,000. For 6th site level we even have more data. So this is also a big data in dentistry, and we like to show some how we can have the collaboration for our this kind of big data to demonstrate how reliability and how validity for our screening profile, and we can adjust. We don't touch this too much, and finally we can collaboration for our this kind of the big data. Even the examiner is very is many, but we still can adjust our risk profiles. And after collaboration, our model, we can show very the high odds of diabetes and smoking associated with our periodontal disease. And also, we use the different method to update and to collaborate this CPI to demonstrate the higher the AUC, area under curve, to show our prediction model. Okay, so finally, I think in addition to the clinical data, we need to combine with our the omics data in the futures. So this is some structure about our how we can make use of the clinical data combined with our omics data together to think about systematic epidemiologists to develop the big data analysis approach to provide the furthest the personalized medicines to not only we have the data, but also we build out the models, try to use this data and to develop digital twins in the futures in order to do because right now we are not able to do everything to do the randomized control trials. We need to make use of this data and use this technology including machine learning and the artificial intelligence approach, to try to build up another the control arm, the digital twins. We call digital twin. Then we can do the experimentally analysis in using data, not human. Then we can develop the predictions in the future to further better to do the better diagnosis, better understand prognosis, and maximum optimize our therapy in the future. Okay. All right. So this is my talk today. And finally, I'd like to introduce these 2 weeks at the TMU. We have the TMU International Education Fair. So welcome all of you to this website, and we can you can see our more and more information about our TMU. Okay, so this week is our Christmas. So welcome to TMU. This is the current campus I share with you. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sam. It's really an excellent presentation, and I think it's really interesting for us as a dentist, especially about your presentation in the big data. And for all participants, if you have any questions, I think now we come to the discussion section. If you have any question, maybe you can type in the chat room, or you can press the raise hand feature in your well, we have one, I think we have 2 questions. Maybe I read the first question from Chitra Devi. Oh, she is a new student, Professor Sam, in School of Oral Dental Technology in Taipei Medical University. She just arrived in Taiwan last 2 weeks ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chitra Devi. The question is, what is actually the meaning of the big data analysis? Is it about the number of sample that analyze, or is it something else? Maybe because we are not really familiar with this concept, so maybe you can explain more about this. And then, do you want to answer this first, or I read all the question?
Okay, I can answer these questions.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a really good question. So right now they talk about big data because every day we produce a lot of data. Okay, even in doing our clinical practice, but we seldom to collect this kind of data. So, but right now the big data, of course, associated with a very a large number of data. Oh, okay, but if a definition is not only for the large numbers, the definition of big data, it's we can make use of our clinical data, but not only one sources, but also including many kind of sources, including open data, including any kind of whether financials. They might be produce some the information you are not able to know in before. So we call it of course it's a concept big data analysis. Okay, but right now the big data analysis is not only the big data is big, but you can say hundreds. Maybe for someone the data is big, 100 subjects, 1,000 subjects maybe is big. Okay, and not mention about if you only have one subject, one patient, but in his body or her bodies, they have many gene data, and there's a million data. So even in one subject, so it depends on what you are talking about. So I think right now the big data is not only big data is big, but also you can think about this is right now machine learning is very popular right now. So but machine learning also belong to the big data. So if you touch the big data, you touch the machine learning. Okay, so I simply to explain. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Professor Sam. And how about Chitra, Dr. Chitra? If you have some feedback, maybe you can type or you can raise your hand while we are waiting for her feedback. I will read another question from the participants. From Ashraf Afif, he's also the new students from Indonesia in Taipei Medical University. Ashraf Afif Alfian, how did you apply this big data concept in your research? Did you gather all the data from one place when did the research? Or did you collect them from your medical report? Please, Professor.
Okay, so if you are interested to do the big data analysis, first of all, you need to set up your study hypothesis. Okay, this is first the issue you need to set up. Okay, for example, you want to test the weather associated with the carries. Okay, I just make an example. Okay, so you need to think about how you collect the data from this kind of the different data sources. You want to link these data together. Okay, but in the past decades, if you have this kind of hypothesis, you need to collect data. Maybe you need to use a questionnaire to collect data from the beginning, and you need to collect the data. You need a long time to collect data. But right now, if you want to test this hypothesis, this right now is very easy and very popular to use open data, and maybe you combine with your primary data, then you can do some research and test some hypothesis. Okay, so I suggest if you are interested to do that, you set out a hypothesis in the beginning, what you want to test, and then you think about where the data sources and where can answer your hypothesis. You test the hypothesis. Okay, so this is my answer. I hope it's clear and make you understand it.
Thank you, Professor Sam. And maybe if you have the feedback about the answer from Professor Sam, Dr. Afif, you can type in the room chat, or you can raise your hand to talk with the Professor Sam. And while waiting, so because I think we have some more questions, 3 more left. I will read them from, maybe this is from Dr. Fuad, because they use the abbreviation. I will read the question. Very insightful presentation, Professor Chen. For the big data concept, are there any considerations about how much data must be collected to be called big data that can be useful in various things in the field of dentistry? So what can be considered so it will called big data? Is there any limit of the how much the data number. I think that.
Okay. So it's again, I think, touch with the issue about the number of data we need to collect, and I think it still have the two concepts of big data. One is you need to set out a hypothesis, and then you need to test this kind of hypothesis. So you need to collect information from the usual clinical practice, from the clinical practice, and the second concept of big data is no hypothesis. Okay, but you need to collect data periodically. Okay, and maybe the data is the panel data, or it's a maybe you collect data for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and even 10 years more. So this is the database you need to collect periodically. Okay, but this kind of data could be provide very the good topics you never thought before. Maybe this is no hypothesis. Then you can do the research based on this kind of data, and you can rely on the machine learning, and they can produce some answers you never touched before. Okay, so this is a kind of a big data analysis. Okay, and this right now is still another way to show sometimes we call it data mining. Okay, they can mine some information whether you never know before, but this is one method to use big data. But basically, you need to have a database. You need to have the clinical database to collect the data regularly. Okay, and so I think these two kinds of the big data you can think about. Okay, one is you have hypothesis, then you collect data from your usual care, and another one is from open data, and you can do some exercise and to test the hypothesis you want to build up. Okay, another one is you don't need a hypothesis, but you need a big database, and you do the machine learning and to try to find some interesting the outcomes from your database. Okay, so this is, I think, hope is clear.
Thank you, Professor Sam, for the answer. Dr. Fuad, maybe is it clear? Answer your question already, or you have some other question or any feedback for Professor Sam? So we have two other questions left, and first is maybe I can read it from Samsia Sam. Samsia Sam, I know she is a PhD student in China Medical University. So her question is, yes, how to analyze the big data in a simple way?
All right. So I think as we still need some tools and the software to analyze the data, but right now they have many kind of the tools and the study software, but basically you still need to learn some basic study software. Okay, like R or SPSS or SAS to do the sum analysis, or Strata or to do the sum analysis. Okay, I think it still needs some basic knowledge for the data analysis. Okay, so I think this is my answers.
Yes, thank you, Professor. And maybe because of the time, I will read the last question from Ardiansha Artin. Oh, Dr. Ardiansha is the master graduated from, if I'm not mistaken, from Thailand. Yes, I know he is a lecturer in our faculty also. Hi, Professor. My name is Ardi. My question is there any flaw in doing research involving big data? Thank you.
Okay, this is a good question, but I'm not able to tell you very detailed and to tell you. But this is could be another hours to talk about how to. Of course, this is a good question. So still some flaw about the big data analysis. There's still some flaw because if you have not enough information from data, they still have many bias would be problems for the big data analysis. If you have not the enough data. For example, if you don't have the smoking information in your clinical practice, you are not able to know why these people after your implants, they are quite often to have some problem. Okay, if you don't have enough information for the smoking information, so if you don't consider about the smoking, then maybe the bias would be will show up in your analysis. Okay, simply to say, of course they have some flaw. Right? So still very be very carefully and very good to have good explanation. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Professor Sam.
Any other question?
Yeah, if you still have time, Professor, we still have one question. Can I read it? Is it okay?
Okay.
It's from Abdullah Hadelasari. How to avoid non-ideal data in big data? Is there an ideal data standard for pre-processing big data? How to avoid non-ideal data in this big data? So is it a standard for pre-processing this data? So the standard for.
Okay, I hope I don't understand your question, but yes, I think we should to avoid the non-ideal data in big data, but sometimes the non-ideal data could be another's unexpected the findings would be possibly to show, but after the machine learning, so sometimes you don't need to delete any data. Okay, even it's non-ideal data. Sometimes you trust the machine learning; they will do some unexpected finding. You never know. Okay, so this is my answer. Hope you can acceptable.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Sam. And to the participants, maybe we still have time. Is there any feedback or you want to ask or talk with the Professor Sam directly? Please, you can raise your hand using the panel and you can put your microphone on. How about the answer from the Professor Sam? I think they say, thank you, Professor, thank you. So maybe it's clear for the answer. If there is no other questions, so maybe thank you so much, Professor Sam, for your really excellent presentation. It's really interesting for us to know about this big data concept. Maybe for the flow, as Dr. Ardiansyah's questions, maybe we should make another session to you to explain this if you are not burdened to this. And then I sum up a little about your presentation today, so I can catch up some point first. In order to prevent the oral disease, based on the WHO guided oral health system in direction, we need to take care of not only the disease itself, but also we need to take care the multifarious etiologies from this disease, including the economic status and then lifestyle, such as cigarette consumption and alcohol consumption, and many more. So we can take care and prevent the oral disease. And then another point that I can catch up from your presentation. So using the big data approach to do the research and in screening of oral disease is really helpful for us to find the risk factor or relationship between the one disease and its etiology, so we can also lead to the prevention of this disease. And then thank you so much, Professor Sam, for your really interesting presentation. Maybe I give it back to the MC, Dr. Ernie Marlina.
Thank you very much.
To take care of the event.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hajra, for nicely guided our talk today. And Prof. Chand, as Dr. Hajra mentioned, big data is not a familiar concept for us. So this talk truly will open our mind about how we're doing this. I myself personally interested with the oral screening program, and if you don't mind, we invite you again somewhere in March to talk about this in detail. I really hope that you can teach us or show us how we can do the oral screening cancer for us, Prof. I will let Dr. Hajra to invite you and let you know in more detail, if you don't mind, to give us more your knowledge and experiences.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I will invite Prof. Ruslin, our Dean. Dr. Ruslin, if you're still here with us. Otherwise, I will represent our Dean to hand over. Prof. Prof. Ruslin.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
If you don't mind, Prof, to hand over the certificate and closing our today presentation.
Yeah, Professor Samling Sengchun, we would like to give you, this is your certificate, and we would like to send to you by your email. And again, thank you very much for your time as speakers in our international virtual symposium. This is the short event in our international virtual symposium. Again, thank you very much, and we would like to invite you come to Makassar when COVID already go on. Again, thank you very much.
Terima kasih.
Yeah.
Rosalind.
Thank you so much.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Ruslin, for hand over the certificate and closing our virtual international symposium series, the 13th. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished participant, we are now arrived to our end of today's talk. This also will be our last virtual international symposium series for this year. Having been together for 13 webinars, I, representing our committee, would like to convey our deep appreciation for all gestures, from the brilliant speaker, from our Dean of Faculty Dentistry support, from Rectorate motivation, and definitely our audience for the enthusiasm in the topic we presented. We would like also to apologize if there are any mistakes, any miswords, or any behavior that might exasperate you all. Believe us that it would never in our intention. Ladies and gentlemen, in the end of our meeting, we very much welcome your opinion or suggestion for the future webinar. And we wish you happy Merry Christmas and Happy New Year 2022. We will see you again with more amazing speakers and topic. Demikian, saya akhiri in the end of this session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Hajra.
Thank you.
Professor Chen.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.
All team
Bye-bye.
of
Bye-bye.
this
Bye-bye.
Virtual International Symposium. Dr. Hajra, terima kasih banyak sekali.
Siap, Dok. Iya.
Ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Recording stopped.